All right. Hello, 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 knockouts. Tonya TKO here. And let me just open up the space for my co host, Eric, to come on. All right. So this is take two, part two. I had some technical difficulties. For some reason, the Facebook app crashed and it kicked all of us out. But we're about to get up and running again talking about this Monique situation. And for those of you who weren't there for the first video and you don't know what's going on, this is what's happening right now. I feel like I got to get some concealer under my eyes, but I'm going to do that as soon as Eric comes on so he can carry you guys for a second. But yes, Monique and her quote unquote manager husband went and released private phone conversations with Monique, with Monique, her husband, and Tyler Perry. And so in the video, Tyler Perry had admitted that unfairly, and they were kind of putting him up against the ropes, trying to, I don't know, get some. Okay, here comes Eric. Hey, welcome,
Hey!
welcome.
What's up,
You're so
knockouts?
funny. Hey, you know what? Hold on right there. I'm just going to grab some concealer to put under my
I
eye
saw
real
you
quick,
say that,
okay?
yeah.
Yeah, because you know what? I
You
mean,
look
you may not care, but
fine.
I care. No, I just want to, because you know what? Okay.
Go ahead,
No,
go
I got
ahead.
to get it.
How's everybody doing? Glad you're joining us. Thanks for being here. We had a wonderful
All
time a
right.
little bit earlier
You
today.
know, a little goes a long way, and it's only going to
I
take
feel
but a
you.
second.
I
You know what
feel
I'm
you.
saying? It's only going to take but
Listen,
a second.
listen. I'll go grab mine in there too.
Well, that seems to be you going for Fendi and Gucci under your eyes. I'm not going for that look. I'm not
Yeah.
going for that look.
My concealer costs $3 like everybody else.
Not mine. My concealer costs $45. So that's why
Woo.
I'm putting mine on.
Oh, you said you use Fenty?
No, I said you got some Fendi and Gucci bags growing under your eyes.
Oh, wait
That's what
a minute. Oh, hold on.
No, you know what? Don't be vain. It wasn't bothering you before. So
Listen,
okay.
I can't have a knockout seeing me looking crazy.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, you guys ready? Okay. So let's jump into it. We left off where you were saying that Monique, part of the issue that you had is that Monique, you okay?
Yeah, I'll turn my
Look, don't
volume
be
up.
self-conscious. Don't be self-conscious now. Don't be self-conscious.
Don't turn my volume up.
Whatever. Okay. So we left off saying that you were saying that you felt like Monique, the part of the issue is that she doesn't act like she did anything wrong.
Yes.
And so go ahead with that point because we were having to run from the video at that time. So go ahead.
Yeah, I've always felt like one of the biggest dents in her argument is that you can have, and I say this because I've been in business situations like this too, where yes, there may be a party that completely offends. I totally get that. And there could be another party that by all theoretical standards is completely right in terms of just how you do business. But when you really begin to look at it, what part did Monique play in her own demise? And again, I don't ever advise anything that I have not done or been a part of or anything like that. There have been business situations that I was in where, yes, if you do 2 plus 2, it equals 4. I totally understand that. But in order for me to not repeat that same pain, I had to go back and look within myself and say, Eric, what did you do, even by way of being passive, by not speaking up in the moment, by not calling out the business for what it was, by not thoroughly doing my research? Was there anything that I did that enabled the other side to be able to do what they did to me? And I don't think that she's looking at herself in that regard. Where there are certain moments
Yeah,
where,
but why
mhm,
why should she? Why
hmm,
should she?
you said,
Why
why should
should
she?
she?
Oh, well, only reason why.
Yeah, why should
Well,
she?
the reason why I feel that it's helpful, I don't want to say what someone should or shouldn't do, but the reason why I say that it's
Mhm.
helpful is because in this situation, like we're seeing, she's spent the past decade trying to prove a point. Whereas with things that I've been through, and I know others that have been through the same thing, if something like this has happened, use your resources to create your own wealth. Use it's not to say that you don't need to go
Yeah,
back and
but you
try to
know
write.
what? I feel like we're expecting too much of Monique. She is
Mm-hmm.
a raunchy, bombastic,
Yeah. And
loud
I agree.
comedian.
I agree.
When did
I
she
agree.
say that she was a self-help guru? When did she say that she was in touch with her inner essence? She never said any of those things. She
Well,
is
I
being
want to say this.
exactly, uh-huh, go ahead.
She's in the, I'll say this to that because that's a really good point. The way that she parades herself now, she's very black
Yes.
conscious. It's very my brother, my sister. I'm trying to impart to you. She's like Yana number two, and all of that has come
No,
off
she
the
ain't.
heels.
No, she ain't. Come on now. No, she ain't.
That's how she's promoting herself. Yes, she
For
is.
for 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 who?
For I.
Okay, so yes, so
Mhm.
okay, so listen. I hear her in the audio. I heard her talking about, oh, come on, brother. And I remember she was like, beloveds, we
Hello,
have
my
to
loves.
gather here to.
Hello,
Yes,
my loves. I'm
yes,
here
yes,
to ask you to speak against it. Yeah, I did a video on that too. I mean,
yes,
it is so true, and
yes.
that's how, with her painting herself as the absolute victim, it
See,
doesn't.
and you know
Mhm.
what, and this is the thing, right? Sometimes we have to, and you so this is how life gets tricky. This is how
Mhm.
life gets tricky.
Yeah.
We listen to a person and what a person is saying. Remember in that quote from Maya Angelou and Oprah, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. She's saying one thing, but what is she showing us? So
Right.
okay, so she could say my love, she could say all of this stuff, but what are her actions depicting? What
I'll
are her
give you
actions
I'll give you a
saying?
very quick example of that. And it's I understand that the easy throwaway or the easy mesh shield to put up is that, well, I'm a comic. But my thing is there's art and then there's actual real situations in life. One of the problems that I think that she's making is she blends the two so deeply in the middle to where it's either hard to just only laugh at her or to take her seriously. And I think that when she did that stand up where she basically, like I said, called Oprah, Tyler, and Lee Daniels, niggas with no balls, I get the whole crass point of it, but I'm like, Mama, if you don't know how to separate these things, you can't say that on one stage and then come to the other stage and want to be about love and light and standing up in your truth and showing who you are and being a positive person. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to be one or the other. And so I think there are so many times when she ends up shooting herself in the foot because she keeps trying to please both worlds. And she's desperate now. She's scraping to put together a
I
reputation.
don't. No, I don't listen. I disagree. I
Okay.
disagree.
How do you feel?
I disagree. I believe that people are multifaceted. I believe that she's a
Yeah, I do
comedian,
believe that.
and
Yeah.
I believe that she's a Hotepian right now as well. Right? Okay, I'm sorry. I went too far with that. I went too far. But I believe that she's both ends of it. I don't believe, and
Yeah.
the thing is, I think part of the issue that we're having from the outside is we're expecting Monique to be somebody different than she has ever expressed herself and shown herself to be. She has shown herself to be the my sister, my brother, raunchy comedian, cursing people out,
Mm-hmm.
acting as if she's someplace here mentally that
Mm-hmm.
she may not be at. And I think that that's an issue that every single person has.
Mm-hmm.
When they talk about the three biggest the three biggest mysteries of this world.
No, please share.
Okay, water to a fish, air to a bird, and man to himself. So it's like we can't really
Mm.
see ourselves. You need a second
Mm-hmm.
to let that sink in.
I felt
So
that.
yes. So it's like we can't really see ourselves. We see who it is that we're putting out there. We see the facade, and all of us have facades. All of us do, because
You,
there's a version up here that we all want to get to. And so yes, so at her greatest self, she wants to be sister, brother, my loves, and all this other stuff. But what is it that she is consistently showing us? What is she
mm-hmm.
showing us? And she hasn't shown us to be anything different than who it is that she has shown herself to be.
I
That's
totally
it.
agree.
That's
I
who she
totally
is.
agree. And that's why, so for the situation for when I say those things, it is not with to make sure that I guess that I'm understood correctly in conveying my thoughts. It is not saying that I think that she will do it at all or that I expect her to do it by any degree. It's just there that we know that there are ways to run business. There are ways to present yourself. There are just ways that are
Yeah.
successful, and there are ways that are not. There are ways of presenting yourself that adds to the credibility of one's reputation, and there are ways that actually chip away at it, and if I dare say, sledgehammer at it, which I think is a lot of what she does. So I think that I have always thought that there is a way that if she were of that mindset, that paths that she would take to really kind of rehabilitate the situation, to rehabilitate her reputation in Hollywood, if that's where she wants to be, to get back on the ground where she left off after receiving her Oscar by winning Precious. Do I think she's capable of that? Yes. Do I think she will do that? No. Because it's just not, like you said, it's just not who she is. She's a
Okay.
girl from Baltimore, and that's how she does it. And
Is
my
she from
brother,
Baltimore?
yeah, she's a Baltimore.
Oh,
She's
and
a Baltimore
Cooley is
girl.
saying that her reasons and purpose are way too transparent, that she isn't a person with many layers. And Cooley, I'm going to say everybody has many layers. All of us do. Because and then I'll say this, right, to your point, right? I believe that she is getting exactly what it is that she wants. I believe that she's getting what it is that she wants. She wants drama. She wants
Mm-hmm.
the heartache. She wants
Mm-hmm.
the pain. She wants the
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. She
Mm-hmm.
wants all of that stuff. And this is why she's constantly creating the environments
Mm-hmm.
in which
Mm-hmm.
she'll get that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
way that she's going about doing it, telling people to suck her non existent penis, and all of this stuff, she's
Mm-hmm.
getting exactly what it is that she wants.
Yeah, there's a way to present yourself to where we are, or we are the I'll say it in a different way, I guess, that we are the equal sign to the energy that we put out into the world. We're going to get it back, and that's what she's doing. And I don't think that I'm not sure if she understands and that doesn't care, or that she doesn't understand and that she's willfully ignorant. I don't know which way that is, but I can tell even in listening to the clips. And when there were so many times that Tyler was confirming what was said. He said it several times in the clips, and it wasn't enough for them. And I think that even with other relationships that I've had, when we are dealing with cantankerous, angry, bitter, drama-filled people, there is never going to be a final line to where they're like, okay, good, let's move on, because that's just not their dynamic. And unfortunately for her, I don't think that that is her dynamic. And I still believe that in great part, I think a lot of the gaslighting of that dynamic has been conditioned by her husband. I'm not trying to find someone to blame with that. I just look at their dynamics. I look at how she tried to explain it away, and I don't want to mock her for it, because I mean, if it means something to her, then that's great. If she likes it, if she loves it, I like it, or whatever the thing goes. But I see how she calls him daddy. I see how and just the
What?
thing. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's all you didn't see that
Uh,
all the time.
you know what? I'm not a you know what? And I'll say this, I'm not a Monique fan, so
I'm not
I don't
either.
look for her stuff.
It's I just
It's when her stuff I mean, who really could be at this point?
yeah no.
She's turned everybody against her. But this is what I'll say, right?
Hmm.
And so how do you win? I did a video on how to win
That's
every
what Cooley want to
argument.
know about.
And the number one way to win an argument is to keep in mind what it is that you want. What do
What is
you
the
want at
goal?
the end, on the other end of the argument?
What's
What
the
is it that will
goal?
satisfy you? Because
Hmm.
it's like, if you go into an argument not knowing what will satisfy you, you're spinning your wheels. So it's
Hmm.
like, if they had a list of demands, they should have had their list of demands of what it is that they wanted
Hmm.
already listed out, written. Because what is it that she really wants? What does she want?
I and I
I'll open it to the audience too. What does Monique want?
hmm yeah, I was let's definitely reflect that question out there. And I would say, presumably on our side, being that we're watching all of this, it to me it's not been clear. I do believe that she wants to, according to her narrative, I do believe that she wants to have her name cleared. I believe that she wants to be industrially vindicated in terms of what was said about her in the beginning of the fallout from Precious, and just to isolate that particular situation. I do believe that she wants. I don't believe that she's going to stop until she gets Oprah to give a confession. She's already given. She's gotten Tyler to give a confession by way of Damon Dash in the Shakedown video. She's gotten. if you're ready to reenact it, I got my prop. She's gotten him to give. Well, she was able to garner a confession out of him vicariously through Damon Dash. And I still think that at the end of the day, I think that one of the greatest pains that she went through during that time, according to her testimony, is what happened with Oprah. Not so much just what happened with the triad of them allowing her to be labeled difficult, but also with the fact that they had Monique's family on the show, on Oprah's show, and there were certain things that Monique did not want to have, number one, be revealed, and there were certain guests that she did not want to be represented because she knew that it was going to cause a major fallout and it was going to be ugly. They had a lot of unresolved situations. It wasn't something that had been dealt with and now they're free to talk to the public. It was still very much a brewing pot. And I think the fact that Oprah went ahead and kind of capitalized on that and went ahead and did it, I do think that hurt her. She did have a subsequent conversation or two with Oprah to where it seemed like they were getting ready to get to a point of confession with it. But it seemed as though because of the power and the prestige that Oprah has, Oprah just doesn't have to have certain conversations. It's just not a part of her world. She's cushioned it to where it's just not a part of her world. So I think that the third and final thing in this instance that Monique wants is for Oprah to vindicate this situation as well with an admission.
Okay. All right. And then there are some people in the audience who are saying what it is that she feels that they want. So Aaron is saying she wants them to take the she's difficult to work with stigma off of her. That's one.
Yep.
Tyrell is saying she wants to work and be paid her worth. So that's two.
Yeah. Hey, Tyrell.
And then three, Charlotte is saying nobody cares anymore.
Who said that?
Charlotte said nobody cares anymore. Okay. So let's break that down.
Let's do.
And this is what I'm saying. This is how you win arguments, right? If you want people to think that you're not difficult to work with, how do you behave? If that is what you want, how do you let people know that you're not difficult to work with? How do you get that stigma off of your name?
I think, am I allowed to offer things as you're talking to?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
I think that, and again, these are just, I'm not suggesting things that I've never done. Like a lot of the things I suggest are things I've had to live through.
Come with it.
And so what I think is that one of the things you got to do, for one, is create an environment where you can actually cultivate that type of new narrative. Tyler said it best. He said it from one angle. I wish he would take it deeper. Tyler said what you need is a movie and to work with a director that can put you back on top to where all this can go away. Right now, because there is so much stain and tarnishment that is going on with her reputation, she's not really able to do that with a lot of people in Hollywood because there's such a stink out there. So what's going to happen now, you've got to grab your indie projects. It may mean that you need to start a little bit lower. I understand that she's doing her comedy shows, and I think that is definitely a great rollout. Keeps her, keeps money in the pocket, keeps food on the table. But let me just say this real quick. But the thing that I think that she needs to do is take it to a larger scale. She's worked with other people who are indie. She's worked with Lee Daniels, who is an indie. She worked with Patrick Ian Polk, who is an indie. She worked with Will Packard, who is still coming up from the same thing. Monique has enough, even with all this slander that's going on, she still has a big enough audience to put something together herself to where she's not asking to be exalted in someone else's hand. She's going to have to create her own environment, create your own world, and let them give a narrative of, I worked on a Monique set. I didn't work on a Lee Daniels set where Monique was there. I didn't work on a Tyler Perry set or someone else's set where she happened to be, where they can still change the narrative the way that they want to based on popularity. She needs to create her own environment, her own projects, get your own production company together, and reinvent your own name.
Right.
That's what I think.
Okay.
That's totally what I think.
Let me ask the audience this. Okay. Right? Let me put this to the audience. Okay. So for the people who are watching, put up a number 1 if you had the ability to hire Monique. Put up the number 1 if you would hire her. Put up the number 2 if you would not. Okay. So 1, you would hire her. Number 2, you would not. And then we'll continue on while the vote is coming in. Okay. Right. Yeah. That's what I think. So in your point of view, you feel that she has to vindicate herself in her own name. Has she ever expressed that that's what she wants to do?
That what I just suggested?
Yeah, has she ever
No,
expressed that
she
she
hasn't.
wants to create a
She
production company?
no,
Right.
it's
So let's
not.
so
Mm-mm.
all of the numbers that are coming in are number twos. There's one number one in there.
Okay.
So, but for the most part, they're all number twos. The vote is still
Mm-hmm.
coming in, right? So, and there's another number one. So this is my point here. She has never said that she wants to create her own production company. She's
No.
never said that she wants to create her own content.
Mm-mm.
I mean, she has a husband manager who's
Mm-hmm.
not really who's not a trained manager, who's not doing a really good job of managing her.
Right.
So when we start getting people to step outside of the realm of where, first of all, her husband is comfortable being her manager.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine her going into a realm where she's not comfortable participating in that way. So if she's not comfortable producing her own content,
Mm-hmm.
then I can only imagine how catastrophic that would be.
Yeah.
We can only go by what it is that she's saying that she wants, what she wants. And the
Mm-hmm.
people have said it. She wants to vindicate her
She
name
just
and
wants
she
her name
wants to get paid
vindicated.
what it is that she's worth.
Yeah.
If a person wants to vindicate their name of being difficult to work with, how does the actions that she's participating in, it's like, okay, if you want to vindicate your
I see what you're saying.
name,
I see what you're at. I see the
why
question
are you
now.
going around town proving that you're difficult to work with? You go into
Mm-hmm.
a Netflix meeting and then you start cursing them out and calling
Mm-hmm.
them out on social media and doing all this profanity and all this other stuff. What does she really want?
If she's
What
not
she wants,
if
mhm,
she's not going to so I'll roll back what I see where the aim of your question now. That's what I would suggest. But as you said, going based on what she is saying, I get it. Going based on what she is saying, she's going to have to change the way that she deals. She is going to have to change the way that she communicates her message. She is going to have to. It's not going to come this way. She's been doing this way for it's going on over 10 years or so now, and it's not working. No one is in all of this proving and putting out audio of telephone calls, as true as they may be, and even
yes,
with what's going on,
yes,
none of it is working. So something has got to change in the way that she deals with people, dealing with just the way that she is. Right, and I know this is probably not going to happen, but dealing in the way that it is right now, I personally feel that she needs to be on more sets without Sydney. And I just think that duo
yeah.
energy.
You know what? This is, you know what, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation
Me
because for
too.
those of you who know me, you know I'm a self-love specialist, and I help you get into healthy relationships based on self-love,
Mm-hmm.
right? One of the things that we're not realizing is that Monique has free will. She has choice. And remember, when
I
it
agree,
comes
Aaron.
to people's partners, when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to people, the people that people are dating and who it is that they marry, we may think that we know who a person is, but you don't really know a person until you see their mate. You get a more full picture of who it is that they are when you see their partner. So Monique is showing us who it is that she is and what it is that she thinks about herself
Mm-hmm.
by one being married to this man and
Mm-hmm.
allowing this man to operate in the ways that he's operating. This is
Yeah.
not by mistake.
Mm-mm.
So
By
another thing that
design.
we have to keep in mind when it comes to relationships is we have to realize, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started reading the comments. One
I know.
of the Kiki is saying, what did she do? She released private audio of her and Tyler Perry having a conversation where Tyler Perry admitted that he felt she was done unfairly. He offered her some money, and he also offered, or he was talking about getting her some roles or her having some roles, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to relationships, one of the other things that we have to realize is we have to really, really, really look at a person. Part of, you know what? Part of, and you know what? And I coach, I counsel, and I do tarot readings to help people get answers. I do a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this disconnect. There's a disconnect, Eric, between what
Mm-hmm.
your partner, your friend, your family member is saying. There are people who are in abusive relationships,
Yes.
but because the person doesn't admit because the person doesn't admit that they're being abusive,
Yes.
then the person is confused. You're like, I don't really know what to think about this. They
Yes.
say they're not abusive. They say this is because of me, but I know
Mm-hmm.
that there's some things that are uncomfortable in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I say all of that to say is that you and I are having a conversation about Monique. And you're talking about what it is that she can do to get to where it is that to get up here, to get back on top of the industry, to do all this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not looking at what it is that she actually is doing. Her actions are communicating to us.
Absolutely.
And we really, when we're in our relationships with
Mm-hmm.
people, with our friends, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
we really have to look at their actions, because
Yes.
people can say a million different things because people don't know themselves. They cannot see themselves.
Mm-mm.
What is Monique's action saying that she wants?
Mm-hmm.
She wants drama. She wants to play the victim. She wants to stay connected to this story, because when she
Mm-hmm.
was on the line with Tyler Perry, first of all, they were recording it without his permission for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that the phone call was recorded. So
Mm-hmm.
they were recording it for a reason. Then they were threatening to release it. They only released some of them for a reason. And
Yeah.
so Monique, and listen, this goes for anybody in the audience. The life that you are living, the way your life looks on the outside is a reflection of everything that's going
On
on
the inside,
inside.
absolutely, absolutely.
So she may say she wants to vindicate her name, but she doesn't really want to vindicate her name. She may say she wants to get paid what she's worth. How much is she really worth at
Yeah.
this point?
And that's been an argument. That's been an ongoing. The last wave before this happened. This was about almost this time last year, to be honest with you. That she went through was that. No, I'm sorry. It was earlier this year. It was like right after the first of the year. Is that she was going for this Netflix deal, and it was because of where she thinks in her head where she wants to be. It seems as a way of trying to force situations to
Yes,
become that. And we can't force
yes,
life to do anything. You can't
no,
force it. It has to happen on its own. It has to happen organically. And again, as you were saying, it has to happen as a reflection of what is going on the inside. And if you're conflicted on the inside, if you're dramatic on the inside, if you're angry on the inside, if you're hateful and mean on the inside and hurt and sad, all these negative emotions that are going on the inside, everything that comes out of you is going to be a reverberation of that. Everything,
yes,
everything that your hands
yes,
touch is going to have a
yes,
negative effect to it. Every person that you come encounter
yes,
that you encounter is going to have some sort of story that's going to be kind of off. Because
yes,
inside there's a lot of conflict. And no, none of us are perfect. None of
yes,
us are one complete way. As you said, we're all multifaceted, multi-layered
yes,
individuals. But there is a way to walk in such a way throughout life to where we have a balance and at least enough of a grip on it, again, to know what we really
yes,
want. We really want to be successful. We really want to be in
yeah.
love. We really want to be healthy. We really want to be happy. And so again, it's with food. If you have a lot of
and
ailments
I
on your body,
I don't really think that that's true. I think that what we really want is what we get. What you
you
really
say that one more
want is
time.
exactly what you really want is what you get.
Yeah,
What you
yeah.
really want is what you get. Like there are a lot of people who are like, I don't have money, I want money, I want money. No, you want you want the story. But let's honor what Aaron is
Mm,
saying. Aaron is saying, I feel like we're off focus because the
okay.
focus should be on Lee Daniels, Oprah, and Tyler Perry. She was actually done wrong. She has
Hmm.
proven that over and over again, but we are stuck on her behavior.
I think. Let
At
me.
some point,
Mhm.
something has to give, just like the Dame Dash. He's not going to get the same treatment Monique is going to get.
Hmm.
Okay, so
So
your
my
response
my
to
thought.
that?
First of all, I agree. I definitely agree in great part with that. That the focus is that of what they did, of what Lee, Tyler, and Oprah Winfrey, like basically that triad, how that force by omission or commission pretty much rallied against her or allowed there to be a rallying against her that has put her into this position in the public of what we see. I totally understand that. By the same token, like you were saying, it has to be hand in hand. And while they're doing what they're doing, they're going to get theirs anyway, if it be that. Because like I said, with Damon rolling up on Lee like that, the chickens are coming home to roost for everybody that has been doing wrong. But what if for her, because she's been like the central focus of this, she's been the nucleus of a lot of this situation right here. How is that helping her? And I guess what does all of that mean for her? At the end of the day, what happens? Because just because everything's being proven, okay, let's say that Oprah comes out and she does an admission as well. Then what? That doesn't still that
This
doesn't
is this is
then
this is
what?
my point.
It doesn't force
Monique has
anybody to work with
dragged
her.
herself. So exactly. So Aaron, so this is an answer to your question. Why are we focusing on Monique's behavior? Listen, healing is for you. So let's say Oprah does come out and say, you know what? Yes, I did you dirty. Then what?
It's
How
not
will
gonna
that
change
change
nothing.
Monique's 10-year rampage?
This.
So let me ask the people in
Mhm.
the audience. Let me ask the people in the audience this question. Let me ask the people in the audience this question. All right, so we're going to do a number one. Number one is, if Oprah comes out, if Oprah and Lee Daniels and Tyler Perry all did a press conference and said, you know what? We did Monique wrong. We did her wrong.
Mhm.
Press one if you would hire her. If you had the ability to hire Monique, press one if you had the ability to hire her. Press two if even if they came out with a press conference, you still wouldn't. So while the numbers are
While the
rolling
numbers are going,
in,
okay. I'll
right?
respond
So
to
number one, if you would hire her. Two, if you would not.
if there was a press
So
conference.
right.
Yeah,
So my
and I.
whole point
Mhm.
is, she was looking for therapy on that phone call. She was
Mhm.
looking for something from Tyler Perry that he does not owe her.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not her
it's
therapist.
deeper. It's
Healing
deeper than the phone
healing is
call.
not his to give.
It's deeper than
Exactly.
the phone
It's like
call.
we have to get our own healing. We have to
Mhm.
get our own, we got to go to therapy for ourselves.
Mhm.
Most everybody is putting in
They're
number
putting, and
two.
people are still
Toya's
putting in
saying she's
twos.
messy.
Well, and that's my
Okay,
point.
so listen to what Aaron is saying. Aaron is saying, I feel like it's just like the Me Too movement. Someone had to speak out. The first couple of people that came out talked about being raped, were shut down. Most people wanted to know, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that, because
Good
I was
point.
thinking about the same. I was thinking about the same thing as we were talking. The Me Too movement.
Mhm.
You see, the difference is that, oh, and remember, in the last broadcast, I said, I cannot help the poor if I am one of them.
Right.
I cannot help the poor if I am one of them. Listen
Mhm.
to that. Because it's like, during the Me Too movement, there are women that we've never heard of
Mhm.
before. We've never
Mhm.
heard of them because they let their tree trunk get cut off at the knees.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
with this whole Monique situation, Monique allowed herself, look, we asked the question earlier, who is a bigger star, Gabourey Sidibe or Monique? At this very moment, two people from the movie Precious, who is a bigger star today? Gabourey Sidibe is a bigger star than Monique today because Gabourey did what it is that she needed to do. Now, with the Me Too, we're talking about personal and sexual violations, which
Mhm.
are illegal. Other than
Mhm.
that, you're talking about having a contract.
Conduct.
So she agreed on $50,000 pay.
Mhm.
I think that's low, but that's what she agreed to.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she could have allowed she what's one of the things that could have happened is she could have allowed herself to continue on and let her celebrity rise, and as her
Mhm.
celebrity rose,
Mhm.
come back and say, you know what, this is what the real story is behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Instead, she allowed herself to get cut off at Precious. 10 years ago, she's still talking about money out of her mouth.
Somebody put a good comment. I think you see it as well too from Jamila. Let's be honest. No one has no. She has not acted in the best light and could have been a lot more graceful and poised in her shots. However, that does not change the fact that she was done wrong and does deserve vindication. And again, I think that's what's happening with a lot of the emissions that are coming out right now and some of the revelatory footage that we're seeing from the confrontation with Damon Dash and Lee Daniels. I do think that that part of it is fine, but I think the
Okay, okay, well, you know what?
bigger still is your question that you asked, that you're the one too that you're asking, because at the end of the day, the vindication is
Yes,
only one part of it. Once, and I think what Tonya is asking
yes.
again, once she is vindicated, how does that fare in the court of public opinion? It doesn't change anything. At the end of the day,
This is my thing. So
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I keep talking over you,
No,
Eric. I'm so
it's okay. I
sorry.
know there's a delay, so I know it kind of catch. All I was going to say, and I'm going to go and let you have it, is that
Hmm.
with the way that it plays out, but to the point that I believe that Tonya is making, is that after she is vindicated, what it still shows is this, and this is what people aren't looking at. What it still shows is this: when Monique gets mad at you, she's going to go on stage and she's going to talk about you. When Monique gets mad at you, she's going to grab her husband and she's going to do a whole bunch of talk shows on radio all around town, just dogging you out. When Monique is mad at you, if the situation is not resolved and you're trying to work through a resolution, she's going to tape your conversations, and even after you have given her whatever it was or agreed to whatever she was trying to get you to understand in the conversations, if you don't do it the way that Monique says you're going to do it, she's going to put it online and put you on blast. That's what vindication is not going to help. The way that the way that she went about getting her vindication is not going to help her once she gets that vindication.
Exactly. And so, Jamila, this is why I'm saying we have to realize what it is that we want. How do you win an argument? The way that you win an argument is by first going into the argument, knowing what it is that you want and acting accordingly. If you want your partner to show you more lovey-dovey time, is berating your partner going to get that for you? Is
Mm-hmm.
bringing up old arguments going to get that for you? Is attacking?
I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments as well too. I shouldn't be doing it like this. That's unprofessional. Go ahead, girl. I'm sorry. I was reading Aaron and Tyrell. They had some really good comments.
I know, but you like to talk.
I'm not by
So
myself.
listen,
I got to share. I've got to share. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you're so funny. So this is so this. I don't mind you reading them, but it's
But
like
read
you
them
talking in
inside.
the
Read
microphone.
them inside.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll do better.
So so you can't. It's like you have to know what your objective is.
Mm-hmm.
What is the objective? Is if the objective is to get back on top in Hollywood, the way that she's going about it is not going to get her back on top, because people have already stated that even if people came out and said, oh yes, you were right, they still wouldn't hire her,
Yeah.
because what it is that she wants, she does not want vindication. She doesn't want vindication. She wants the satisfaction of this triumph, and there's no satisfaction in it that can be had. She has to get healing on her own.
Tyrell is saying that he and Aaron were kind of saying the same thing a little bit ago, basically just talking about the vindication that she wants, and that Tyrell had just said, so if you don't do it the way that the industry wants you to do it, they will try to shut you out, which is a lot of what happened with that initial situation, and I agree that
Right.
there was, because she was not contractually obligated to continue on promoting, and again, I get that was her choice, and based on who she was dealing with at that time, she made that choice, and because of that choice, they retaliated in the way that they wanted to. That part is not right, and again, I think that bears admission for all those parties that had a hand in causing that story to go out. But again, when it comes down to
Okay, well,
vindication.
let me ask you, let me ask you this question. Let me ask everyone in the audience this question, right? Was Monique's career over? Was Monique's career over after Precious? When all of that stuff happened behind the scenes and they said,
Excuse me.
okay, well, she's difficult to work with, was her career over? Just recently, Netflix offered her something. And what did she
Hmm.
do with that?
It became
What
it
did she
became it
do?
became a thing. It became a and again, a lot of people have conflicted perspectives on that and saying, well, maybe she should have or shouldn't have taken the money. It had nothing. I personally believe it didn't have anything to do with the amount of money or if she should have or shouldn't have taken it. I think that goes immediately because people get caught in the crosshairs of a bunch of other ancillary nebulous stuff that has nothing to do with what's going on. I think it goes right back to the simplicity of your question, the 1-2 questions that you're asking. At the end of the day, based on what we've seen, would you hire her or not? She found a company that was willing to do a number one. She found a company that was willing in all of this, and also with Will Packard as well too. She had found two people that, despite what everyone else was saying, they decided to be a number one. They decided to say, you know what? I've heard the rumors, I've heard the slander, I've heard what the things that I don't understand and how you've been painted. But in spite of all that, I still want to work with you. I'm going to be a number one, Will Packard. In spite of all that, I'm still going to be a number one and work with you, Netflix. And both of those stories erupted in more drama. There,
Exactly.
at some point, Monique's got to look in the mirror and say, maybe it's me. There was let me say this real quick, Tonya. There was this hilarious meme that somebody put out, and I put it out every New Year's. And it's Jan Van Zant's face, and she's looking like this. And the title of the meme says, if you got to cut 300 people off every year, people ain't the problem. And I think that in all of this, that is where we're getting stuck. Because people are endeared to Monique because she is a replica of many of our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, our aunt, all of that, our cousins, our sisters, all of that. We don't want to look at a person, and we have this a lot of times in our community. We don't want to look at somebody and say, yes, number one may have gone wrong, but 2 through 6 was you. We don't want to say that. She had number ones in Will Packard again and in Netflix. And in both of those situations, they blew up just as ugly as Tyler Perry and all that other stuff. At some point, mama, it's you. Come on. Am I crazy? At some point, it's us. At some point, we have got to look at what we are putting out. Like you said with the relationship. At some point, it is not that all men are bad. At some point, it's not that all women are bad. At some point, it's not that all black men are bad. At some point, it's not that. You may have been in a bad relationship. They may have done you wrong. But at some point, you are continuing to echo behavior that is consistently landing you in situations where you are being
Okay.
done wrong.
So Aaron is saying no with a bunch of exclamation points. And he's saying that's them trying to capitalize off of her for cheap because they are now her only hope. Okay.
Will
So
Packard?
this is no, I don't
I mean,
know.
I know which
I
ones I
think he's
talked
talking
about,
about
and I know that they
Netflix.
were saying,
I don't even know
I
what
mean,
the Will Packard thing is. What's the Will Packard thing?
well,
I didn't know about that.
The Will Packard situation is in regard to when she did, I believe the movie's called Almost Christmas. And again, and the thing is, and I'm gonna say this again, and because I know the run this Monique train today, a lot of people are saying, and I totally get it. But the Will Packard dynamic had a lot to do with, again, Sydney. It wasn't even so much her. A lot of it had to do with
No,
Sydney's
no,
involvement in it. And so her
no,
name once
no.
again got dented because of this duo with her and Sydney. Once again, it was
You know what? And
it
unfortunately, but the thing is, and remember, I said this a few moments ago. We're trying to act like Sydney, her husband manager, is not a reflection of Monique. Like he's just doing his own thing and dragging her down. This is the man that she
that she
chose,
chose. I
sound,
understand.
mind, and body.
Yeah,
And this is the human being that she's choosing for her manager.
did very well though.
This is her. So listen,
Oh wait,
and
Aaron just said like, and he's right. Almost Christmas did great. Yet the it didn't change her situation in the court of public opinion. Why?
well,
You
you know
know?
what? And you were saying that at some point we have to realize that it's us, right? And I disagree with that.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
Tyrell just said,
because I think that because that kind of makes it seem like if different things are going wrong, then at some point we got to realize it's us. But I think that no matter whether things are going good or whether they're going not so good, it's you. It's
yeah,
you, no
yeah,
matter
yeah.
what.
I don't disagree with that.
Your life, and so this is why I'm saying that we cannot blame Sydney. We can't blame Sydney's involvement
I see.
because Monique chose Sydney. These are choices that Monique is making. She chose Sydney for a manager. She chose to go to Periscope telling people to suck her dick. She chose to air out Netflix number. She's making all of these choices, so it's her. So it's like at some point we have to realize that our entire lives and other people's entire lives look exactly like how they've created them.
Read some of these comments, Tanya. That people are making really good counters out here.
So while you're talking, I'm going to read the comments, but I
Okay.
ain't going to act like you while I'm reading them like this. I ain't going to do all of that.
I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better. But I do agree with. I see what you're saying, and I do believe that. And I think that. And I didn't mean to when I was saying that earlier to say that it being you only means when things are going bad. That really what you're saying, good or bad, it is who we are. We're the sum, as the saying goes, and I do believe this, that we are the sum total of I think they say the 4 or 5 people that we hang around. That is a reflection of who you are on the inside. Again, a lot of the advice that I give, even if it's something that is objected against, are by things that I have had to do or things that I've experienced. To go back to an earlier point that we were talking about, I was not that I did the person wrong, but I was a component of a taped telephone call by somebody that wanted a different agenda. I thought I was calling the person. And the thing that was so bad about it, this was a girl that I worked with several years ago. To my understanding, we didn't have an issue. I thought we were completely okay. I mean, yeah, she was an artist and I'm working with her, and yeah, we had things that we needed to work out. But to my understanding, we never had an issue. There was this one particular phone call that I had with her, and it was just the way that the phone call happened when I was able to get her on the phone versus the normal way I was able to just like call her within an instant. This time it took a little longer than I felt something inside. Point being is that I later found out that this phone call, she had literally called her family and everybody into the room because she was angry at the way that I was trying to get her to do this particular show. I told her, okay, I've got everything all the way mapped out. She was a girl that did not want to be told what to do. She didn't want to be advised on how to do things professionally, how to do things the right way, how to do them systematically so that things didn't fall apart because she liked being in control. Well, you hired me to organize this for you. So when I put everything together for her, because it wasn't the way that she wanted it to be, and I still would have been willing to talk to her about it, she got in her feelings and called me on the phone. I'm thinking I'm just talking to her. I'm literally talking to a room of 10 people, and I didn't know. So I'm saying I have been that which she did. When I'm advising some of this stuff about Monique, this is not coming from a hate train of Monique. I have been on the other side of people who operate that way. And I'm telling you, by still being able to survive in this industry for the traction that I've been able to get over the years that I've been in it, there is a way that you need to act. There is a way that you can speak truth over power, go off on people, call people to the carpet to where it does not become self-inflicting. And what she has done with a lot of the conduct that people are trying to support and permiss and let go, a lot of it has been self-sabotaging, and no one wants to say that. There is a way that she can be right about what the fact is, but you can still be sabotaging, couldn't get it right, as to how you get to that fact. We don't want to look at that. That's a
Yeah,
problem.
well, you know what? And yes. And then we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap this up
This has been
in a
good. Thank y'all for
moment.
joining us. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, so my whole thing with the whole Monique thing is that we keep assuming that what it is that she's gotten is not what she wants.
Once, right.
I believe that whether it was Lee Daniels or whoever, that the unhappiness that she had on the inside, the need for drama, the need for these things, it didn't matter who it was going to come out because it came out and it continued to come out over and over and over again with different people. It's like you just replace in another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Aaron said it sounds like slave talk. What part, Aaron? Um, I
And
think if
Mimi is saying
I could
Monique
be
knew what,
wrong.
what was expected of her at Cannes. You take the oath, you play the game. Duh, you play the game.
I think
Illuminati got your mind, soul, and body.
Oh my! I think to what Aaron is saying, and I'm guessing about what Aaron's saying, but I pretty much because I've been in this conversation so many times. I think if I'm presuming it right, Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably what the objection that he's having towards it is that there is a way to act, and that there is a way to be, and that saying that there is a way to play the game, and that being slave talk. I totally understand that. I've been in this conversation a million times over. In no way am I suggesting this, and this is these crosshairs are what really frustrate me. Not with Aaron, but just with that sentiment that we have, is that we feel that it's all or nothing always. The ability to be able to traverse and to walk over very complicated ground. It's about chess. Life is really, Lauren Hill said it best. Life is like a game of chess. And we don't understand that a lot of times we're wanting to have checkers outcome. We want to do one, two, three moves and be done with it because this is what I want. This is what I deserve. Pop, 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 bam, I'm done. No one wants to have the forbearance and the time and the patience to make moves, to actually know how to strategize. That fatigues a lot of people, and because it's very fatiguing, and because it a lot of times some of those moves seems like it's not what I want. It's not giving me everything that I need. Huh? Okay, I'm coming. I do have to jump off, but basically, because we're not doing that, that in a nutshell, it means that you're playing some other game. You're playing the white man's game. That's not. It just means you know how to strategize. We don't want to know how to strategize. We just want a quick result, and it can't always be a quick result. We have to strategize.
Yes, yes. And you know what? For all of the people who are down with this
Give me
Monique
1 second, so I have
train,
to be
I
right back.
urge you. Uh-huh. So all of the people who are down with the Monique train and supporting what it is that she's doing and how she's going about doing it, I urge you to look at your own life and see what ways that you may be self-sabotaging yourself, because I wish he would have put his thing on mute before he walked away, because you identify with the way that she's going about doing this. And this is textbook basic self sabotage right here. She says that she wants this, but her actions are in direct conflict to that. So I urge you to take a look at your own life and see in what ways are you stopping yourself from getting the result that you claim that you truly want. Because if you truly want this and you know that these actions are not getting you there, then you have to reevaluate. You got to reevaluate. So strategizing is one of those. So let me read some of these comments. So Dege is saying you must strategize. Raquez is saying a lot of people lack the tact. Autumn is saying this kind of has something to do with the subject, but do you have any advice for trying to make it actors trying to make it in the industry?
Okay. Sorry.
And Cooley saying jump, 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 jump,
I
queen.
apologize. Repairman was here.
It's okay. Life is a stage for all of us. I'm just reading the comments real
Mm-hmm.
quick. So
Basic acting.
yes,
Who was
so
that?
so
Yeah.
yes, so that's the bottom line right there.
Yeah.
What do you truly want, and
Mm-hmm.
are your actions? It's like
Are they lining
we
up?
have to temper ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's like in any situation, you have to realize what is it that you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you enter into any situation, you got to realize what is it that I want, and are these actions going to get me there?
Yeah.
Is this set of actions that I'm doing going to get me there?
Yeah.
And so it's like, you may be right. You
Yeah.
may be right.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra Bland was completely right. She was
Mm-hmm.
completely right.
Mm-hmm.
But when she chose to blow that smoke in the officer's face, she's the one who ended up dead. She is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, no, it's not about being a slave and it's not about dancing to master's tune. It's about participating in activities and behaviors that's going to get you to your highest goal. Even if that means eating a little piece of humble pie right now, even if it means zipping your lips right now,
Mm-hmm.
even if it means not working with some people anymore, keeping your mouth shut and going off to become a bigger star someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
You think Monique is the only person that's having issues in the industry? I'm sure she's not the only person who's had issues with Lee Daniels. I don't know what Precious was paid, or sorry, Gabourey. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what Gabourey was paid,
Yeah.
but I do know that Gabourey is working right now. I do
Mm-hmm.
know that Gabourey is in the magazines. I do know that Gabourey has did whatever it is that she needs to do to maintain her reputation. Somebody asked if we were Monique's manager, what would we suggest for her? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like any group of advisors.
Mm-hmm.
You find the best people with the best track record to advise you on how to get where they have proven that they can take you where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Reputation
So
means
yes.
everything. It means so
And
much.
Aaron is saying, how long do you eat humble pie? You it,
Honestly,
if
honestly, you will
you if you
always
if
eat
this
it.
is if
You always gonna have
you
a
it
you'll have
it,
a
it really
slice of
it really
mine.
depends. It depends because there'll come a point where you're close to where it is that you want to get. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll give this example. I'll give this example. I had a skincare business for 5 years. It did
Mm-hmm.
very well, multiple six-figure business, right? And there were vendors who I didn't like the representative. There were owners who I didn't get along with. Why is this middle finger and
Oh, I'm sorry, it's on there. I'm
man?
sorry, it should be on this side. I'm sorry. This is I'm scrolling through the comments. This one's bad. I gotta use this one.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I had a business and there were people that I didn't like working with. But at the end of the day, if their price was right and they had the containers or the jars or they were a resource that I needed, I would zip my lip because at the end of the day, what it is that I wanted was here. I wanted to be able to sell my product to get my customers my stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going to be like, well, we ain't going to have this month because I don't like the guy who sold me the loofahs. I didn't like the. No, it's like, what is your end goal? What is your end game? If your
Mm-hmm.
end game, if you meet up with the police and your
Mm-hmm.
end game is to go home that night, whether they are right or wrong, you got to do what it is that you need to do to return to your family.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody does you wrong in Hollywood, if your goal is to continue to act and continue to climb until you have enough money to turn back and say, look at you, look at how you did me from a
Mm-hmm.
place up here, instead of trying to punch them at the knees,
Mm-hmm.
get up here and then punch back at them.
Mm-hmm.
Monique could have done a fabulous expose, and everybody would have been like, Monique, we had no idea you were going through that. She could have been a
Mm-hmm.
huge name, but she made
Prime
choices.
prime example, and
Mm-hmm.
I know this is when we really gonna split the room, but I'm gonna say this is a prime example. Let me just say it, and then tell me how you feel. Beyonce,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is one of the best examples of this, only in that she found a way to capitalize off of whatever it was that was going on. I'm just putting that out there as a business point. At the end of the day, her goal, give me my money. And there's a way that she went about it to where it could be Jay-Z getting his ass kicked in an elevator, to whoever it is that are saying that she's copying, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, any high drama that has ever come out about Beyonce has always come out by the way of her music to make sure that she can still keep money in her pocket. Monique has given us so much of it for free and not put it into a that's just a business move. It could be, like you said, the same story, same narrative, same rollout, but put it in a form to where it's going to really benefit you. Even if don't nobody agree, you could put it
Oh,
into a
okay.
documentary. She could package it into something to where you still can make money off of it. Not to make it
Hmm.
shallow,
I never
but
thought about that.
why are
Yeah.
you giving it away for free?
Yes. Yes, because her objective was not money.
It wasn't money. She says it's
Her
money,
her
but it's not money. Because if it was money,
exactly.
not to be cliche, but you would make a money move. You would figure out how to capitalize on that, how to put it somewhere. She's very likened unto an Azalea Banks, who just goes off for free. Just because you just want to go off, you just want to. And I think Azalea is incredibly talented. I'm not trying to change the subject, but I think she's incredibly talented. But we can't get to the talent because of all the other stuff that's in the
The
way.
mess in the
We
way.
can't get to it.
Yes.
We can't get to it, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And on that note, tell everyone how they can stay in touch with you.
You can stay in touch with me. All of my extensions on all social media are Eric Dillard. That's Eric with a K, ErikDillard, like the department store. And ericdillard.com is my website. So I made it very easy for you. I'm always doing my broadcast Speak Truth Over Power, picking my YouTube back up, and of course, collaborating with my girl Tonya wherever I can. So knockouts, I'm so honored to be able to say, hey, knockouts, because I've been a knockout for forever. So just follow me when you can, and just continue to support what we're doing.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for stopping
of
by. And
course.
we're gonna have to see what our next topic is going to be. So listen, everybody, make sure that you come to my website, TonyaTKO.com. If you do /subscribe, you can subscribe to my personal mailing list. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and I also place videos up on YouTube, self-love and relationship videos. Okay? And Aaron is saying Bay has way more power. She didn't always have this
She didn't
power.
always have
She
that
started out
power.
when she was 15 years old and
Mm-hmm.
in a music group with other girls. She did what she needed to do to get to where she needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
She could have come out and did a whole bunch of articles about how Jay-Z cheated on her and all this other stuff.
She did.
She could have.
She did one article, and the reason why it sticks out in my mind is because it's only been one. She did one article in Vibe magazine, and it was the cover where it was the three of them. It was her, Kelly, when it was down to the three of them as a trio, and the one where they look like the Supremes. That was the one time she did an open letter, and she addressed the Latoya Latavia situation, and I believe maybe in part Farrah. That was the only she did one, to my knowledge. She only did one article that was like that, and even that article was in a magazine. So she hasn't always been Beyonce. Everybody knows Miss
Yeah.
Lemonade. They know Miss Sasha Fierce. But no, I was back there with Second Nature. I was back there with the No No No, the original mix before Wyclef got a hold of them.
Right.
People don't know about
Right.
the
Right.
1996 Beyonce, that she had to fight through the same industry that Monique had to get to. Facts.
Yes. Yes. And so on that I want to end on this note, and then I'll finish
That's
giving
why I'm
you
trying
my
not to say
social
nothing because
media
we can
things.
go.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call
Okay.
in. Let me try to end this. So look, so I'm gonna end on this note.